Your Money Path with Mike McGrath. I'm your host, Mike McGrath, and you are listening to KHTS 98.1 and AM 1220. Also streaming live here with Facebook Live, www.hometownstation.com. I'd like to welcome everyone to what is now my second show. Again, the idea of my show is to really kind of create a community here involving how we make financial decisions with a goal of helping us all make wiser financial decisions. So the idea here is I've been in the financial planning business for over 20 years and have found as one of the biggest themes how financial decisions affect not only ourselves, but all of those around us and those we care about, whether those are good decisions or bad decisions. Of course, the reality is a mix of both, but the idea is that when I make good financial decisions, it does benefit me, obviously, but when I look at my family and I look at my close friends, all of those people are impacted by those decisions. So the idea is that I want to create a community where if we are making better decisions together, that we create a better community. So better employees, better employers, husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, all those roles are impacted positively if we can have a better understanding. So the way I want to go about doing that is to bring in folks who have been very successful, talk to them about how they have worked their life financially, mistakes they've made as well as successes they've had, and create some principles that we can all kind of work on and apply together. So before I proceed, you can always reach me. I work with EP Wealth Advisors. I'm a partner at that firm. And you can reach me at my email, mmcgrath@epwealth.com, or on Facebook at facebook.com/epwealthadvisors. So on this show, I'm excited to bring someone who is a colleague and a friend, also an inspiration, Patty Handy.
Thank you.
Patty has, and now she will elaborate shortly here a little bit more on her story, but her story is one very broadly of learning to recover from some setbacks, things that were challenging, and the lessons that you learned. And I say inspirational in part because those experiences have generated, correct me if I'm wrong, 4 books. So we are published 4 times, a podcast, and even on this station, her own show. And I have read the books. My kids have read the books, and you can. In fact, I brought one for those of you on Facebook Live. One of the more recent ones here, Money Rules 101. I'm going to show the camera here, which is a kind of an add-on or a sequel, right, to one of the first books.
Yes.
But Money Rules 101 and the other one, How to Be Richer Than Your Parents, which I always thought was a great title. Those are the 2 I've shared with my kids, and the idea is kind of the idea of my show, but narrowed in as a parent to a child, and for a child, especially a teenager, right, in early 20s, trying to make some good decisions early on, because if we make better decisions early, the better the course goes in life, right? So,
Yes.
So we've got also, though, 50 ways to deal with a divorce, and then a children's book, Peanut Butter and Jelly, right?
The feeling in my belly of peanut butter and jelly.
Yes, I love that. So first of all, Patty, if someone wanted to get access to that, how do they get a hold of you?
Best way to reach me is just go to my website, which is easy. It's pattyhandy.com, pattihandy.com. And you've got my phone numbers there, my email address, all my information. My books are on there. That's the place to find me.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So we'll get back to that again, but if we can kind of get into the meat of it, maybe if you wouldn't mind giving us a little bit of a background, and I hate to sound like a Steve Martin movie, but tell us about your childhood, right? No, but
How much time do we have again?
Yeah, right. But tell us how maybe some of the things you learned as you were growing up, because that I think has an impact on how you responded to some of the challenges later on.
Yeah. You know, I give a lot of credit to my parents. I come from a family of 5 kids. I was the middle child, so I have that middle child syndrome. But there was 5 kids, and my dad was a full-time worker. He also had a part-time job teaching because he loved to teach.
Okay.
My mom was an at-home mom, taking care of crazy 5 rats running around. And we learned very, very young that money management was important. We learned how to respect it. We learned how to make it. If we wanted to have something extra, it was up to us to earn the money to be able to buy it. I remember being, gosh, it was probably, I was 9 or 10-ish. We lived up in the hills like a good 5 miles away from any stores. And I have a terrible sweet tooth, so I love candy. And I thought, well, all the kids in my neighborhood like candy too. So I would go to the store and I would buy candy in quantity, and I would
Okay.
sell it to my neighborhood friends.
Nice.
So it was my first
Entrepreneurial from an
my
early
first
age, huh?
entrepreneurial little thought was when I was, yeah, and it did really well, so much so that I graduated to ice cream. I bought popsicles and fudgicles.
A multi-line enterprise,
I'm
huh?
telling you, it was a beautiful thing. My parents had a freezer in the garage, and I had my little store set up. It was great. But yeah, so they taught me very young, and as I grew up and I wanted things, especially like through high school, it was frustrating because I was like wanting certain shampoo or certain clothes, and they're like, "Fine, go and buy it. We supply you with clothes and
Right.
shampoo. If you want something extra, it's up to you." So I became, again, very entrepreneurial. I worked from a very young age. And I didn't really respect that or appreciate that until many, many years later when I went through a divorce. And it was when I went through my divorce and I realized, I've got the wherewithal, I've got the knowledge, I've got the comfort with how to make money, how to invest it, how to earn it, how to respect it, how to manage it. And in the middle of at a time when it was complete chaos in my life, my son was 18 months old, and at the time, I left my corporate banking job to raise
Okay.
him. So I was unemployed at the time, and I was unbelievably fearful of how to deal with him and just the emotional roller coaster. It was this complete chaos. But I remember specifically, I can envision myself laying in this like fetal position, completely distraught, but thinking to myself, you know what, I'm going to be okay. We're going to be okay. I know how to, I've got this financial knowledge. I'm going to be able to get back on my feet.
Yeah.
I'll get a job. I'll be able to earn money. I know how to manage it. I know how to invest it, and it's going to be okay. And even though there was all this other chaos in life, that small little piece of the puzzle,
Right. Kind of a seed had been planted when you were young, and
yeah,
now it was coming to blossom in a sense.
it was
Yeah.
blooming, and I didn't really appreciate it until that happened.
Okay.
And it was a sense of peace in the middle of chaos.
Interesting.
So I that's sort of what my passion is now in terms of working with my mortgage clients, working with teens, working with women starting over.
Right.
I don't want anyone to not have that. I want everyone to grow up with a sense of peace financially, so that if anything happened to them in life, divorce, death,
Right.
whatever, from a financial perspective, they would have that piece addressed.
That's very powerful. I've just a couple weeks ago was talking to a friend of mine who had been laid off. So that's not loss of a spouse, but it's still pretty traumatic. And he said it took longer than he thought to get, another job. And he did finally land one. In fact, he starts next week. But so
Nice.
it worked well ultimately. But some planning that we had done and things that we had talked through in terms of just having adequate savings, some of the basic things that you and I would talk about routinely,
Yes.
almost to the point where we don't even think about it anymore. When you get down to a real life situation, you realize how powerfully impactful some of that basic planning can be when when challenging times come. So now tell me a little bit about some of the books. I know there's different subjects there,
Yes.
but the ones I focused on were the training kids with my kids. They're millennials and younger. So I have a 6-year-old. He has not read the book yet. He's just learned how to read. So we're working on that.
My children's book would be good for him.
There you go. We're going to do the what is it again?
The feeling in my belly of peanut butter and
Yeah.
jelly.
I forget the beginning. I just remember I just wrote down PB and J.
PB&J.
Yeah. So, but the idea is of some of the we would think now, looking back at some of those things, it's fairly basic, like have adequate savings and don't have too much debt and so on and so forth. But some of those things now, trying to teach a young man or a young woman. And in your book, you talk a lot about, in your introduction to parents, for example, is, look, I know communication to a teenager is already a challenge, just globally speaking.
Yes,
And then
yes.
you want to add a subject that they may not even initially have an interest in,
Yes.
which is money. So the book tries to bridge that gap, which is very useful because it's very practical. But as you're talking with teens, how do you kind of get them involved in the conversation?
The primary way I get them involved is I coach them through the envision of being independent of their parents, being able to make their own decisions financially. I tap into their why.
Okay.
Why is it important for you to be independent financially? Wouldn't it be cool for you to know that you can buy your own car and not be waiting for mom and dad to be able to say, no, you're on your own, or
Right.
yes, I'll give you X dollars, and that's not what you want, it different. Or you want to buy a laptop and you want to be able to do that on your own. So I tap into their their wants, their
Okay.
desires, because no matter how, and I've got a son he's now almost 22. So I went through the teenage years, and I
Right.
went through that period of trying to, coach him. And I did a lot of things very similar to my parents in terms of making him responsible for money. He's purchased his own cars. He's pays his own cell phone bill. He pays his own gas and entertainment and all that stuff. But when I first got divorced, I sort of fell into the whole. I know I'm digressing for a second. I want to come back to that, but
Okay.
I fell into the whole a little bit of, because I felt so bad that Dad wasn't around,
Mm-hmm.
that I found myself spoiling him,
Oh.
and I realized, okay, that's got to stop. I was just buying him and giving him and just doing whatever I could to make him happy,
Mm-hmm.
and it was toys and things and experiences and everything else. And I thought, okay, this is going to backfire on me someday. It's going to hurt both of us. So I kind of reeled it in a little
Okay.
bit. But yeah, back to your question, it really is about engaging them and making them know that their own desires, their own wants for their life, envisioning them moving out and getting their own place. How cool would that be?
Right. Just trying to help them paint a vision, perhaps.
Just understand that, they're in control of their destiny.
Right.
And this is something that can be easily learned. The mechanics of money is not difficult. It's learning a new habit. It's learning a
Right.
new education, but it's not difficult. The mindset is part of it, and that's something else that we go into. That's a long answer to your question.
Well, I think I'll pick up on that though, because the mindset I think is a nice bridge to the idea of painting a vision, right? To have the mindset is built on the vision. The vision gives you motivation.
Yes.
The mindset helps you do it. There's a quote in the book. It's not your quote, but Mark Twain. The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And I
I
think
love
that's kind
that.
of what I was thinking of when you were talking there. Is this, and I do this now. Let's broaden this to not just kids, if I could say, or teenagers, but when I'm sitting down with a client to discuss their future and their plans and the things that are on their minds, whether that be hopes and dreams or fears and dreads or a little bit of both, is to try to draw out you think you call it the why. Like, why are you doing this? What's motivating? What do you value? And so if you're, 17 years old and you're really wanting desperately to get out from under your parents' yoke, I guess,
Yeah.
that's your why for the moment, and those things can change.
Right.
But we've all had experiences where someone's motivation or purpose is to, leave money to a charity or to a cause, or it could be to be financially independent after a divorce or a death, right? We were just talking prior to the show about how one spouse tends to do more of the financial nitty gritty daily work, and therefore that one spouse generally has a more working knowledge of maybe money in general, but certainly the money specifically as to that family. So if there is a death of that spouse, or is it some of a separation or divorce, the one who was not as involved is really at a disadvantage.
Yes.
And so it's one thing to communication, I think, was one of the keys you talked about and a number of times throughout the books, right? Tell me how you kind of coach a little bit, because I know you do coaching as well. How do you coach, whether it be couples or parent to child, that communication? Because we certainly have a message to give and that we want to draw their vision, but how do you have that back and forth to where it's functional, that we can get this to work so everybody's on the same page?
Yeah, well, we start with understanding their story, understanding where they're coming from, where they're at. There's a lot of questions and a lot of listening, and less and less of me just, giving instruction.
Yeah, okay.
It is really understanding what they want,
Okay.
why they're doing what they're doing, their struggles or challenges. We start off with where they're at today, and then we determine where they want to be, whether it be 5 years, 10 years,
Okay.
and then create like a blueprint, a roadmap, if you will, for what to do. And some of that becomes tough love. There's a
Right.
lot of bad spending habits that we see, and there's things that have to get cut.
Right.
I was talking to a client recently who has 3 daughters, and they all go for manicures on a consistent basis, and they
Okay.
all go to sushi together. And yet she was talking about how it was
Things are tight.
things are tight and I'm, bleeding out money. And I'm like, okay, let's
Yeah.
look at this and let's see where we can cut back. And we all love to have those treats. There's
Right.
no doubt. But some of those things, until we get back on our feet, need to be kind of shaved back. So there's some of that, I call it tough love, but it's just reality.
Okay.
It's about what's coming in and what's going out. And if it's upside down, we need to figure out how to either make more or spend less. I mean, it's not much different than that simplicity.
And that seems to me the true value of a coach. We're talking about life coach or financial coach. I know a lot of financial planning is the coaching, usually on a specific financial objective or something. But I would even throw in like a fitness coach, right? So we all know it's fairly simple how to lose weight. You eat less and exercise more, but
Yeah.
not always easy to actually live with that
And
idea.
get into the gym consistently.
Exactly, right.
Right.
So, and sometimes having the coach helps
The
because
accountability is
right.
big,
So if I
yes.
know that the trainer's waiting for me at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the gym on Saturday, I don't want to be the jerk who like stands him up or her up.
Right.
So I'll go, even though I don't want to. Where if it was just up to me, yeah, the game's on. I'll just relax.
I've got
Right.
mow
I'll
the lawn
pass it.
today or
Yeah. Right.
something,
Right.
yeah.
So I imagine it's the same, right? When you're coaching as life coach with some of these folks, some of it is just the fact that you're there and they know you're going to say, "Hey, how are we doing with that right now?"
Right, right. And I do that a lot with even my mortgage clients
Okay.
in the mortgage business. I see financial, I see
Right.
pretty much everything to get the loan done for them. And there are those conversations about, okay, where can we pay off to, qualify for the loan? Or we just have that conversation. I look at whether they have a living trust or not, and I introduce the idea of you might want to consider a living trust, and if you need one, here's a referral.
Right.
You're looking at financial planning. You've got assets; they're all over the place. Maybe we can consolidate and meet with the planner,
Yeah.
and then I'll refer out as I do. So things like that, where I become sort of this holistic
Right.
coach. Even though I'm just doing their mortgage, I can see things from the bird's eye view,
Right.
and they're so in it, they're so knee deep into it that oftentimes they don't necessarily see it.
Okay.
'Cause
Yeah, that
they-
makes sense.
They live it every day. They don't know it until you step back and go, oh, wow.
Yeah, there's that familiarity can be a negative.
Yes.
If you're just familiar with your daily routines, you don't realize some of the negative things sometimes.
The
So
habits, yes.
now you've, in addition to these books, over the years, because those have been developed and published over the last several years,
Yes.
you've just started under a similar theme, for lack of a better term, your own show, radio show, talking about these issues. Tell me
Yes.
a little bit about that.
So the show is called Starting Over,
Okay.
and it is here on KHTS. Effective June, it's going to twice a month. It's
Oh,
once a
great.
month for now. It's the second Wednesday at noon. Come June, it'll be the second and fourth Wednesday, going to the 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock hour.
Okay.
So 2 to 3 versus 12 to 1. So I'm making a change come June. But I'm excited about adding another show per
Absolutely.
month. But it's really focused on helping those who are going through divorce or lost a spouse
Okay.
get back on their feet. And much like your show, I'll have various guest speakers come in, and we talk about finances and law like we did last time.
Right.
I'll have motivational speakers, fitness coaches, nutritionists, grief counselors. I mean, from physically getting healthy to emotionally getting healthy, financially getting healthy. So we address the entire thing, so that I kind of envisioned myself, a long time ago when I was going through my divorce, what would have helped me to kind of prompt
Oh, that
this.
makes sense.
I had a huge amount of love and support from family and friends, and it
Okay.
was just priceless. There's no way you can put a dollar amount or a comment on that. But having some of these tools to help you get back on track is something that would have been really great for me, just from an emotional standpoint. So the point is to really bring tools and inspiration and hope to those who are going through these times where they are starting over. So
Okay.
I'm excited. I'm really hoping to reach a lot of people and help a lot of people with that.
Absolutely. So these things really kind of start working together, right? So if you've spoken, I know, at conferences and seminars, in addition to the books and now the show, which then helps you reach a wider audience. And the goal really is, those folks in that situation, how can I help you?
Yes.
And we can be that simple with it,
Yes.
and then take it from there. So,
Yes.
well, I tell you, we're going to cut for a break here in just a second here, and then when we come back, I've got some questions for Patty that I ask all my guests.
Uh-oh.
that I want to maybe flesh out some of these principles we're talking about, maybe kind of hone this in, something we can all kind of grab onto before the show's over. So again, you're listening to Your Money Path with Mike McGrath on KHTS 98.1 and AM 1220.
Move on from what's familiar and discover what's possible in your relationships. This is Jasmine Urbina, inviting you to tune in to The Inspirational Parent as my dad and I tap into a fresh perspective on modern parenting relationships and dish out the magical ingredients for effective parenting exclusively on KHTS. Catch us live every Friday on The Inspirational Parent from 12 to 1 or download our podcast at hometownstation.com.
It's the biggest event of the year, our KHTS Home and Garden Show, this Saturday and Sunday, 10 till 5 at Central Park. Free admission. Speak with the experts and turn your home into your dream home. Meet our friends from Lifestyle Outdoor Hot Tubs and Swim Spas in booth 1025 to see state-of-the-art hot tubs and endless pools. Or visit their Lifestyle Outdoor store at the Valencia Marketplace on the Old Road. Details at SantaClaritaHomeshow.com.
First impressions say it all. Choosing the right makeup is critical to that first impression and keeping your skin looking young and healthy. That's why Santa Clarita's Jen Gerard created Gerard Cosmetics. Inspired by women of all ages who gravitate toward classic and timeless beauty with a modern twist, Gerard Cosmetics. Superb quality and pigmentation, along with lip glosses and lipsticks in colors for everyone. The internationally acclaimed Gerard Cosmetics. Discover your new look at GerardCosmetics.com.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM, 98.1 FM and AM 1220, your hometown station.
And welcome back. Again, you're listening to your Money Path with Mike McGrath on KHTS 98.1 and AM 1220. Thanks again for joining us. If you haven't been listening, or if you have been listening, I'll reintroduce you to my guest, Patty Handy. Patty is a life coach, a mortgage broker, an author, a host of a radio program. We've got all kinds of things going on.
Most important job as a mama, though.
Okay, there you go. I like it.
That's my mama's role is most important.
And well, speaking of which, when a couple weeks ago, I was in role reversal here with Patty, and I was a guest on your show, and it happened to be my wife's birthday, and she was so touched that you remembered and put it on the show. And so today, I'd be remiss if I didn't say today, ironically, only 2 weeks later, is my son's birthday.
Oh.
So Brody is now 21 years old as of today.
Woo, that's a big,
it's a big one.
Big one.
So we're having a big celebration tonight. So happy birthday, Brody.
Happy birthday, Brody.
So Patty has been, again, a friend and a colleague. We refer to each other and work on clients together, but an inspiration watching and having been, in some senses, a part of that process of seeing the books come out to fruition and talking about these things with so many people. And the idea, I think, as we were leaving off, picking up where we left off there, is at the end of the day, sitting down with someone who, at that moment, that you may be introduced to them, and I'm thinking of more the life coaching part of this, is hurting, is in an emotional chaos, perhaps, and to try to hone in and say, okay, those things are real, we have to deal with those, but you're going to be okay, and this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And this is what you need to be thinking of, and kind of being that safe place where someone could vent and do all the things they need to do, but at the end of that, then the next step is this, and the next step is this. And so I imagine sometimes that dovetails a little bit with a mortgage client because maybe there's situations going on. But
Yes.
the idea being that you have that ability to cut through that emotion, not ignore it, but cut through it and get to the things that need to get done in an organized, prioritized fashion so that they are going to be okay and that they can, and if need be, start over, hence the name of the show. And not only that, but pass it on to those like you did with your son, like I'm trying to do with my kids, or to our clients, and pass it, hey, I've learned this, let me kind of share this with you. So,
Yeah.
so this has been great. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I was going to say to your comment is when you're in that place, like you said, of being scared, the overwhelm can be so crippling that you don't think like you would normally.
Right.
Because you're just so messed up in the head, at least at
Right.
that moment in time. And
Sure.
I'll say I was. So sometimes it takes someone else to come back and go, okay, let's look at this from an objective place. And they become that person who kind of brings the calm into the situation.
Right.
But when we have a plan, I think, and I'll again speak for myself and those that, clients that I've worked with in the mortgage business and otherwise, when we have a plan and we kind of know a direction and we kind of have a blueprint of where we're going, there's a sense of peace with that versus I don't know what I'm doing, where I'm going, what to do first. It's the chaos is that in itself can make you crazy.
Right.
So if we can bring them, okay, here's what has to happen. Here's what happens first. Here's what happens second. And this is what will happen once you get to that place. It kind of just brings everything down to okay, I can handle that. I can do that. And it's
I think that's why we get along so well, because the reason I went into the financial planning business 20 some odd years ago was just what you just said, to be able to sit down with someone and go through that. So building a financial plan, prioritizing all the things that need to happen, and then just as a trainer would, walk through each one as timing appropriate is. I just met with a client last week who was kind of scared to talk about retirement because they didn't think they could, quote, make it. So for literally 18 months, 24 months, could not get them to sit down and get me the information I needed and so on. Finally did, and we went through all the material, and not only is he going to be okay, but based on the math, he could actually retire a little earlier than he thought.
nice.
So now we had a whole nother set of conversation to have. So it became much more fun and for him at that point.
Yeah.
But sort of you saw the light bulb go on, and it was like, oh, wait a minute, this isn't as scary as I thought. And so it became kind of fun. So now we made some other revisions, and we, might be able to, cut out early, as they say. So, and being
That's
at
beautiful.
a client's, I have one client, his daughter's graduating from college. I'm going to go join him.
Oh, cool.
And that's the kind of thing where you have that connection with people. That's
Yes.
it's powerful. It makes life worth living in a way.
It's a friendship. It's not just a
Right.
business relationship. It's a beautiful thing when they start off as clients
Yeah.
and they become friends. Really, at the end of the day, at the end of your life, you look back. It doesn't, how much you've done in your business. It's really the lives you've touched.
Right.
There's a saying that I think Oprah is the one that coined it. Your legacy is every life you've touched, and I love it. It's true, whether business or professional, personal, otherwise. We're all touching, other lives in some capacity.
Yeah, and it's powerful. So,
Yeah.
And you've helped our family. We've done a couple of the mortgages, and as anybody who knows me knows, I'm not very patient with paperwork. So you've been very patient to kind
You've
of
done great.
just kind of walk me through that. We've had to blow a gasket, so
You've done
very
great.
good at that. So, well, I have some thoughts for us here. So these are questions I like to ask every guest.
Okay.
And so it kind of pulls us away from just kind of our own stories a little bit and just kind of more broadly, although it's part of our story.
Okay.
And the first one would be, what is the value you think has most helped you with money? So knowing a little bit now, our guests, our listeners know kind of the story, a little bit of how you grew up, kind of that entrepreneurial spirit that was always there, from the divorce and rebuilding and all of that stuff, raising your son. What would you say is a value? And it could be more than one, but what is maybe the main value that you think really helped?
I would probably use the word respect.
How so?
Respect for money. I think that once you know that you can create money, you can manage it, you can invest it. It is something that is a tool. Money gives you options and choices in life.
Okay.
It helps you create the lifestyle that you want, whether it's a certain lifestyle in a home or the ability to start a nonprofit and give back in a larger way. You have the ability, you have the smarts. We all do. And once you have that respect of money, that you learn it's not something that you should just flippantly
Okay.
waste on, a $5 coffee every morning, or just, wasting it away.
What are you trying to say, Pat? Have you seen my credit card statements?
I've probably just pissed off a lot of people, so I'm sorry.
Starbucks stock just tanked.
I
don't
didn't
know.
say the word S. I didn't use that word. I said coffee. I was careful. But I think that, as we just know that money is powerful if used properly.
Okay.
and for the right reason.
So it's like an appreciation of what it can do.
It's
That kind of a respect.
Yes.
Not like an awe and a fear, but more of the idea of
Yes.
I can recognize what this can do for me, and therefore I'm going to apply myself to money in the best possible way.
Yes.
That kind of a thing.
Yes. Money should not be looked at like, oh, I want to accumulate as much as I can just to say I have this or that material item.
Okay.
I'm really adamant against the materialistic connection to money.
Okay.
It's really about having the options and choices to lead the life that you want. You know, it could be to make sure you can put your kids through college. It could be to take a family vacation and treat your entire family to a month in Italy. That's on my list, actually.
Are you adopting?
That's why I said that. You know, again, starting a nonprofit and
Right.
being able to, you know, give back in large, beautiful ways. So it isn't about having the fanciest car or having the biggest house on the street or whatever. And we all have that ability. You know, there's a big abundance in life, and I think a lot of people live in fear. And there are moments where I get caught in that, just because I think we're all
understood.
We're
Yeah.
all human. But I have this mindfulness of, okay, that's not going to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
I need to stop that and switch my focus, and that mindfulness is helping me do that. So again, long answer to your question.
No, that's great.
But yeah, if we could all respect money and know that money is a tool to give us options and create the lifestyle that we want, and it comes back to our why. Why
Yeah.
is that important to us? Why is it important for me to want to take my family to Italy for a month? Why is it important for me to put my son through college? Why is it, you know, all those things are.
Because you're speaking to a value now.
Yes.
This isn't money is a thing. I think we talked about it on the last show, and you mentioned it again here. Money's a tool. So to use that metaphor,
Yes.
the question is, what are we building with the tool, right? And that speaks to values. Do you think, in your experience, whether, again, mortgage client, life coach client, or both, that that's the hardest part of the conversation? Not so much that it's difficult, as much as it is it's hard to draw out from folks what it is that they truly value.
I don't think it's a difficult thing for them. They just haven't really looked at it from that perspective before.
Okay.
Once I point that out, and it's like looking at something from a different angle. You know, you just look from a different angle, you see it differently.
Right.
So if I can just tweak their mind a little bit to look at something in a different way, like, oh, you're right, that's what money is. Money's a piece of paper. Money's just,
Right.
you know, it's a wire of money that you never see. You know, it's just, if you look at the actual money, but does that mean? What does it, you know, what does that do for us?
Right, right.
So, not a difficult conversation, but one that once I point that out,
Mm-hmm.
you can see the light bulbs go off and go, oh, yeah, okay,
Right.
I get that.
Yeah, I found it's not difficult either, but slower, because it's more of a felt thing than it is a thought thing.
Yes.
And you're trying to pull it back up and unify the felt and the thought.
Yes, yes.
And then once you see that, or once the client sees that, then things start to line up. Oh, well, if this is what I really value, therefore I should put it in this kind of an account for college or whatever the issues
Right,
are. But
right. And one of the things I talk about in the book is, in regards to the mindset, the belief systems that we have from when we were growing
Right.
up create our thoughts, which create our actions, which create our results.
Right.
So if we're looking at our life and not happy with the results, come back to thinking about what your belief system about money is.
Right.
What did you hear when you were young? Did you hear, you know, we can't afford that, money doesn't grow on trees? Was it always a lack conversation, or was it abundant conversation?
right,
And
like you had,
the majority
you can
of
go
us-
get it if you want it.
right.
Go get that extra job. Go sell those candy bars.
I'm not going to limit you. Knock yourself out. And I
Okay.
did.
Well, let me ask you sort of a related question. With that in mind, who do you think is the best person you know with money, and why?
I would have to say Warren Buffett.
Okay.
Warren Buffett is a brilliant man. I forget how many books he reads in a week. I mean, it's a ridiculous number.
Right.
He's an avid reader. I think he reads like 4 hours a day or something crazy. Lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm.
He could have years ago retired and been done, but he continues to learn and grow. He is somebody that lives well below his means. I mean, the man can.
He's got a couple dollars.
The man can buy all of Hawaii and all their islands, but he chooses to live in a somewhat conservative home and drive, I believe, a Cadillac or relatively conservative car.
Yeah, right.
And he's just a symbol of. He seems humble. I mean, I don't know him personally. I'd like to.
Yeah.
If you're listening, I'd love to have dinner with you, Warren. We can meet up for coffee anytime you want.
Just not a $5 coffee.
Not a $5.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'll buy it. But he just seems very humble, brilliant, a kind person, and somebody who's obviously done very, very well with what he's earned.
Okay, that's fair. I would imagine there's probably a lot of people who would put him at least in their top 5, if not that top person, because of how well he's done. So, okay, so flipping to the other side of the coin. Okay, we've talked about successes. We've talked about positive things we've learned.
Yes.
What is one financial decision you wish you could take back?
I've got more than one.
Wow.
This could be a long time.
We're going to add an hour to the show.
We're gonna, oh dear. I think that being a single parent and being on a single income puts you in a mindset of, I kind of did some things a little bit backwards. I took a little bit more risk.
Okay.
In my investments to try to get ahead sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So I
hope the risk would catch you up to where you thought you should be.
Yes, and in the end it backfired. Now some of it was just the timing of the market. I bought a rental property in Arizona in '06. Okay. That killed. Land, different financial investments that I did, and my timing sucked. Now, hindsight's worth $1 million.
Right, right. At the time, it sounded wonderful, right?
It was a good thing, yeah. But in hindsight, I wish I wasn't such a risk taker. I wish I'd taken the more conservative, kind of the Warren Buffett route.
Right, right.
He's sort of the consistent, slow go, don't do anything too crazy. And I, in a desire to get caught up with things, because divorce, you split everything financially, and you know, I wasn't working, so I was kind of behind the 8 ball with things, and I needed to catch up. And I had this 18-month-old that I had to take care of on my own. So it was like that fear propelled me to do things that I shouldn't have done.
Understood.
And there were a few of those, so there's more than one.
But the theme is consistent.
The theme is consistent. So if I had to change things, or if I could make a recommendation, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Right.
Really explore. I mean, if somebody gives you a stock tip, or somebody gives you a tip on an investment or something, don't just take it and run. Speak to an advisor. Speak to a professional. Think about it for some time. Don't be pressured to, if you don't do this now, you're going to miss out. That fear of missing out on an opportunity makes us do stupid things. Right. My hand's being raised as we speak. So take your time, step back, think about it, process it, research it, make sure you understand 100% what you're getting yourself into. Right. And ask those people who are smarter than you what they would do.
So it's not so much the actual decision, but the idea that you allowed, for one reason or another back then, to let some more emotion come into that decision process. Yeah. And probably at the time, I remember the market myself, 2006, you didn't want to miss the run in real estate, and so everyone was still compiling in. Yeah. And then you ended up kind of buying at the top in hindsight. Yes. Haven't seen that ever before, right? So... but I think that's kind of human at the same time. But it's a fair point.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is with that, the fear played a part.
In what way?
Because I was fearful of missing out on an opportunity. I was fearful of not being able to get caught up. So that I wasn't taking my own advice. Right. Back then it was like I didn't know better, and over the years I've gotten wiser to these decisions, and just become more aware of what not to do. So hopefully I can share that.
Right. Sometimes I think learning it the hard way is the most powerful way to learn it. Yeah. So someone could tell you, please don't ever inject emotions into your investments. Sure. Okay. That sounds great, Mike. Yeah. And then when you've done it and you got burned by it, it's like, I will never do that again. I didn't need to say a word. Yeah. So So I think that's part of it. But, well, I've got one more question with Patty, but I think what we'll do right now is we'll take a quick break. Again, you're listening to Your Money Path with Mike McGrath on KHTS 98.1 and AM 1220. We'll be back in a moment.
Healthcare can be difficult if you're underinsured or have Medi-Cal. Samuel Dixon Family Health Center can help. Services are available on a sliding fee schedule. The mission of the Samuel Dixon Family Health Center is to give the Santa Clarita Valley access to affordable, quality primary care. There are 3 locations to serve you: Canyon Country, Newhall, and Valverde. Go to sdfhc.org for more information and to find the location most convenient for you.
Want to go back in time to the days when a restaurant meant a place where families gather and friends meet? Try Telly's, now serving comfort food that will warm your heart and soothe your soul. From mouth-watering old-fashioned breakfasts and dinner specials that will make you feel like you're at home. The original Telly's Char Burgers up bouquet just past Haskell. Try Telly's, now serving comfort food that will warm your heart and soothe your soul. Food, family, friends. What better way to share a meal?
Do you ever wonder, am I on the right path? Is my money working hard enough for me? I'm Mike McGrath, host of Your Money Path on the last Wednesday of the month at noon here on KHTS. I'm a certified financial planner and partner at EP Wealth Advisors, a fee-only wealth management firm here in Valencia. To find out how you can get on the right path, visit me, Mike McGrath, today at epwealth.com/Valencia.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weeder Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weeder Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weeder Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit WeederPrime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
Now FM 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
Well, welcome back, everyone. Again, I'm Mike McGrath with Your Money Path with Mike McGrath. I have to confess, so before I break, I lied. I decided to ask Patty 2 more questions instead of 1. So, again, we're listening and having as our guest here Patty Handy, 4-time author, local mortgage financier, and life coach, and inspiration to many. And so I thought these questions would be great to be asked of her because of her unique experience. And one of those, of the 2, is if you could have one person or sort of a group of people in the world get their finances in order, who would it be? And the reason I ask is because, again, the broader idea of the show and of my personal mission in this business, EP Wealth Advisors' sort of mission in what we do for clients every day or attempt to do, is this idea of building a community of people who make wise decisions. So the question first and foremost is, well, who is it that maybe could be making better decisions, or who can we reach out to be to educate more and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So taking that sort of spirit, it's not to say that someone doesn't have their assets in order, but in your life, in your sphere, who would you want to get their finances in order?
Well, I'll start at the top and say, our political leaders,
okay,
community leaders, but those around us that we have more of an influence, because I don't think anybody in government will listen to me. The parents, specifically women who don't have a good understanding of finances and money. It might be that their husband that's their strength, and that's great, fantastic. But God forbid something happened to their husband on the way home. I mean, we just don't know.
Right.
So become empowered and inspired yourself. Reach out and get a good understanding of how money works. Understand your credit score. Where is your credit today? If it's not great, how do I get it up?
Right.
Because your credit score ripples into a lot of things in your life. Is my savings on track? Do I have assets in the bank to cover in case something were to happen? Am I protected from insurance issues?
Right.
Am I what's my debt look like? Is my credit card debt kind of out of control? How do I
both
bring
amount
that back?
and type, I suppose, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would bet to say that the majority of the world who has credit card debt really doesn't know what their interest rate is on that credit card debt. They see their statement, they see the dollar amount they owe, but they don't know what interest rate they're paying on
Right.
that. So when they see their interest accumulate over time, and if they really understood the reality of how much they're paying in a year of interest,
Right.
they would probably have a heart attack. I mean, it's crazy.
Right. And how long that would, if you paid minimum payments, how long
How long
it
that
would
would
take to pay it off.
Yes. So with some of these simplistic money, and again, it's not rocket science. It's very easy to learn, but just a lot of people haven't done it.
Right. So some of it might be awareness. Some of it would be a little bit of education.
Yes, absolutely. That's why I really wanted to get this into schools at a very young age. Let's teach these kids in school about these things so that when they come out of college, they don't have credit card debt because they bought pizza and beer,
Right.
and they or even if mom and dad had their credit card, they have to still know how to manage their money because eventually mom and dad won't be there.
Right.
So it's really about whoever you are that isn't comfortable with this conversation, if it's making you kind of just not feel really well, become comfortable. And it's not hard.
Right.
Pick up some books, reach out to some people who can help you and guide you.
Right.
There's so much online you can learn.
Well, the idea that was to take the mystique away from it. So I think is what I hear you saying. So, and particularly for women whose husbands may have historically taken more of that role, but remove the fear, remove the mystique. This is something you not only need to learn, but can learn and all that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know one thing EP Wealth Advisors is doing, we were just talking about this earlier, is a women's initiative. And it was all of that idea was just providing some, the avenue to get that education and speak to those who maybe not have had that exposure before.
I
And we're
think
going into
that's-
schools with that to teach younger girls. We know in public school, our kids grew up in public school, not a lot of programs, not a lot of classes on that subject. So, which is sort of ironic. But
It is. It's unfortunate, really.
so in doing what you do, and what you've become over the years as you've grown through these issues, sort of the capstone, if you will, what would you say is the most important thing to invest in?
Well, I'm gonna say two things. Can I give you two answers?
Okay, yeah.
They're 50-50 equal.
Only today. Yes.
Okay. Your family. Invest in your family, not just financially.
Right.
You invest time, because time is something that you can't ever get more of later. If something were to happen, I personally don't want to have any regrets. When I'm on my deathbed, I don't want to say, gosh, I wish I spent more time with my son or my sisters or my parents or my brothers or anybody in my
Right.
family.
Not at the office.
Because I was too busy at work.
Yeah.
Yes. So investing the time, the energy, the being there for them when they need me.
Yeah.
So invest in your family for sure. So that encompasses, my son, my parents, and everyone in
Absolutely.
between. I also think it's very important to invest in yourself.
How so?
And I don't mean that from a conceited way by any stretch. I think personal development, investing in becoming the best that we can be. So the more I invest in myself, the more I learn about myself, my personal development, my understanding of what makes me tick, how I can best serve others, makes me better to the world. It makes me a better mom. It makes me a better daughter, sister, aunt.
Well, that sounds
So-
like it could take a number of different modes, if you will. So it could be a formal education, getting a graduate degree, or it could be, learning a new career. It could be a number of different things, right?
It could be, yes. In answer to your question, yes. I'm thinking more personal development.
Okay.
And understanding, how we tick and how I can best serve. Like I can go get an MBA or a PhD in economics, but that doesn't do a whole lot for me as a mom.
Gotcha.
So if I become wiser to myself as a person,
Okay.
with personal development, with understanding myself and just how I parent, how I do things with other people, how I interact with people, I'm going to be better serving
I understand.
that way versus a academic education.
Okay.
There's a lot of people out there who have all these alphabet soup behind their name, and there's they're brilliant, but they don't take that brilliance and apply it and use it in the way that really can,
Understood.
but there's those that take that brilliance and they find the cure for cancer. So that's a beautiful thing too.
Mixed bag, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a blanket statement. It's just my
Yeah.
personal.
No, this is helpful because I know you ask, and we ask it when we sit with a client, when I sit with a client, is in some shape, way, or form, what do you really value? And that's why these questions are poignant. Is what do you want to invest in, not just with money and whatever
Time.
how you invest, but the time you invest, the energy you invest, the emotions you invest, and the better we understand that, the better we can help someone get where they want to really be in life, not just to, as some of the commercials on TV say, what's your number?
Yeah.
It bothers me because that's so simplistic. It's not about a number. It's about what you actually want to do, right?
Do with that number.
So,
Yeah.
well, thank you again, Patty, for coming. I
Thank
think
you.
we're going to conclude it here. Again, real quickly, if you could say how to reach you again to get one of the books or to contact
Sure.
you.
My website is just pattyhandy.com, PATTIHANDY.com, and there's my email, my phone numbers, my books, all my contact information is there.
Great. And thank you. And again, you're listening to your Money Path with Mike McGrath. I am your host, Mike McGrath. And real quickly, you can reach me at mmcgrath at EP Wealth Advisors or at epwealth.com/Valencia. Thanks again for listening.
Thank you.